Welcome back to Kentucky Sports Television. To help us preview the UK U of L game, we're joined now by Drew Deener from ESPN 680. Drew, welcome to the show. We've talked quite a bit about this game leading up to it. Kentucky, maybe not in a position to win a national championship. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Fair to say. Louisville hoping to chase a national championship. What have we seen from the Cards in the first 2 weeks? How would you summarize their first two performances?
I think it's the way their performance will go the whole season. I don't think you've seen anything that if you thought they were going to be a national championship contender, I think you had still the same questions about their schedule that you had before. This is a team that has not done anything to underperform the expectations of what they need to do versus the schedule. So, I mean, I'd say so far they live up to their schedule, but obviously the strength of schedule of these first two teams can certainly be drawn into play, especially Ohio, which many people thought would be good, which who knows? They may be terrible, for all we know at this point. So it's tough to pass judgment, and it's also tough to know how much they've really unleashed. I mean, Kentucky in all likelihood may be the marquee game on their schedule, given the fact that Cincinnati is so bad and Muncie goes out. So I think maybe we find out a lot about both these teams on Saturday.
Is there an area of maybe not concern, but a weakness that you've seen from U of L so far? If Kentucky's going to do some damage, whether offensive or defensively, is there an area on Louisville that maybe they ought to attack?
Well, running the football. I mean, if they can't run the football against DKU, I don't know how they're going to run it against an SEC team. I mean, they get 78 yards on 28 carries the other day. And that's just not going to be good enough against anybody, particularly if it's against Eastern. They've got to prove, because that was the question mark coming into the season, the offensive line. You've got guys playing different positions, and you've got some new faces in there. Can they be good enough to give Teddy Bridgewater the time and to create running lanes for the running backs? Remember, when Kentucky pulled off this upset a few years ago with the BCS game, the strength of Kentucky's team was that defensive line over Louisville's offensive line, and that's a big area.
In Kentucky, we've seen last week they sped up the offense. The pace was moving. They had the two quarterbacks. Is there a quarterback that Louisville maybe would fear more of? Max Smith, Jalen Whitlow. Have they struggled
Drew
with
Barker there yet?
Yeah, that may be it.
No.
Drew Barker. Is it style-wise, the agile, moving quarterback maybe more of a threat, or is it the passing offense maybe their best bet?
I mean, I think Kentucky's best quarterback is Maxwell Smith. So that to me, it's not more of a question about Louisville. It's a question about Kentucky. He's the guy who's going to run the air raid. He's the guy that's going to give them the best chance to win. I think Louisville will cover a little better than this play right here, where you can't find the defender.
They're slightly better than Miami of Ohio.
Yeah,
that's
I think the safety's over on Alumni Boulevard in there. But yeah, I think they're going to get obviously better coverage than that. But to answer your question, I think it's more about Kentucky giving them their best chance to win Maxwell Smith rather than the mobility of Jalen Whitlow. But you just got to pick your spots with.
If you're Kentucky, and the spread started out at 7.5, which was ridiculously low, and I think now it's up to 12.5, 13.5. You'll be an underdog, and it's going to be significant. Last year, Louisville ran away from it, maybe could have run away with it a little more. If you're Kentucky, in your Mark Stoops, what are your goals this game? You say we want to accomplish this, this, and this, besides just winning
turnovers.
The game.
I mean, I think that's the way you equalize any game is you get turnovers. And that can, look at Louisville's big win against Florida. First play of the game, turnover, touchdown. That can change a game in a hurry. I remember 4 years ago, Louisville goes up there to Kentucky, and they're about a 13-point underdog, about what it is in this one. And if Trent Guy doesn't fumble the football, they probably win that game. So while 13, 14 points is a lot in this series, we'll see.
What are you expecting to see from, maybe not a score prediction, but as this game start to finish, what are the things you think we're going to see on Saturday?
The full playbook, I think, for Louisville. I really question whether the full playbook has been in. I think it's been pretty, I don't say vanilla, because they have used a variety of players in a variety of positions, but you have to imagine 30 seconds in the Ohio game, you're not going to unveil any big plays you've got. And I think you will see Michael Dyer. He'd already passed Dominique Brown on the depth chart last game. I think he probably gets the most carries in this game. And we know, I think it's 17 straight times in this series, the team that's run the ball the most, for the most yards, has won the game. It's not a real complicated process. So if you run the ball, you win this game typically, despite all the great quarterbacks that have been in this game.
And it will be interesting. I mean, the spread is huge. People are not expected to be too competitive, but it will be fun. Drew, thank you for being here.